Hi, I'm Dave Gardy for Cybersecurity TV from our studios here near Washington, D.C. for this special presentation in the series Squirrel Compliancy Solutions TV. Joining me now here in the studio is Mr. Gilbert Bollinger, who is the cybersecurity leader and driving force behind Squirrel Compliancy Solutions and its flagship platform, Squirrel Defender. Gilbert, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Today we're going to discuss a proactive approach of how cybersecurity complements zero trust. Give us a perspective. What is one of the most overlooked issues across the cybersecurity industry today?
Yeah, so Dave, that's a very good question. I believe that one of the biggest areas that we have not advanced in cybersecurity is looking at things from a proactive perspective. And so making sure that we've dotted the I's, crossed the T's in terms of cybersecurity hygiene is very important, but it's also been something that we've largely kind of not invested in and spent a lot of time doing in terms of software solutions that do it very effectively. Where we really have focused a lot of time is in the reactive tools, the things that tell us about stuff that's already happened. They look at log files and telemetry. And so I think, again, going back to that proactive nature is we want to block and tackle much earlier, as fast as we can, and that takes a proactive approach to do those things.
Has the industry tried to focus on proactive solutions in the past?
Yeah, actually, back in the early 2000s, I'll date myself here a little bit, between maybe right around like 2003 to 2009, there was particularly within the network area, there was a motion or a movement that spurred a lot of startups to be created, and that was NCCM tools, Network Configuration Change Managers. And I kind of call a lot of these tools like Zero Trust 1.0. And the reason why I use that phrase is that one of the things that we're trying to hone in on is policy enforcement and policy gaps and policy issues, allowing network engineers, also there was equivalent server and application tools that were created during that era, to help us see where those issues are proactively. And so there was a lot of investment by customers, a lot of acquisitions and consolidation that occurred, but that movement eventually died off, and then the industry moved over to that reactive tooling that I was mentioning earlier.
Do you think we're disguising these problems by throwing more complex technology at these issues?
Oh yeah, I mean, so we have invested a lot of money, resources, and time into the reactive tools. Let me give you a few examples. So let's say SIMs, for instance. Let's say log collection, log aggregation. These reactive tools are trying to tell you about the bad things that have already happened in your environment and that you should be doing something about them. You shouldn't be blind to the fact they're happening. But they're looking at log files, packet captures, telemetry of what's in your information. And we're doing that because we have not invested in the reactive tools. So we're trying to go through large amounts of data and try to sort through it to know what is the problems, what are the things that should be keeping us up at night. ArcSight within DoD was one of those tools that was trying to consolidate these things and try to provide that big picture view. But they're only as good as the information that they get, and when they're going off all the time, people stop paying attention to them. And we get a situation where I would call it notification fatigue, alert fatigue, where you just stop paying attention. And partly it's because we've not paid attention to proactive security posture.
How do proactive tools aid threat detection?
That's a great question. So a lot of people would say, well, threat detection is detecting a threat that's already there. That's already happened, which the reactive tools or firewalls or some other reactive tools do a great job at. But if we're doing the block and tackling up front, we look at the information, the volume of information, right? So if we have a lot of attacks coming through, we're block and tackling and filtering them down and distilling what gets sent over to the reactive tools, That means we're closing more doors, locking the windows, making sure that those easy entry points are then not available. Today, we have not done a really great job of doing this from a visibility perspective, from an enforcement perspective, and because of the manpower and the state of automation and how NCCM really just died at the end of the 2000s and has just lingered in ghost mode for quite a while. But I feel like if you look at Zero Trust 2.0, it's kind of playing into this now. It's coming back.
How does Zero Trust factor into this proactive approach?
Yeah, so Zero Trust is looking at policies and enforcement. So you have to have a policy point and an enforcement point. We do not have a lack of policies. We know the things that we should be doing, whether from software vulnerabilities or good security hygiene. And we know this from not just an IT perspective, but accounting and finance, travel policies. We have policies. Enforcement and understanding where those policies should and should not be applied and the applicability, that's the devil in the details. And that's where today we've had a very difficult time with the automation that exists out there and the solutions that the customers have available to them. So it's made it very difficult for those policy reviews to be done automated correctly. And then everyone doesn't touch the enforcement piece. It's the third rail. Everyone's afraid of, I'm going to take down your network. But the reality is, guess who doesn't care about you not implementing the good security hygiene because you're afraid of an outage? Our adversaries. The time it takes us to detect a risk and mitigate that risk is far too long. And telling a network engineer, or a server admin, a cloud admin, that, hey, I'm going to give you a list of things that are all broken, hundreds of thousands of things that are broken, and you have to balance that with your daily job functions. The question is, what gets done? Do you want us to fix all these security problems, or do you want us to do our day job? The reality is none of this stuff gets done. Or we prioritize those things, such as the CISA list for known vulnerabilities that gets released on a weekly basis, whether we talk about the MITRE attack framework. Those are symptoms of the problem. The automation should be good enough to not force customers to cherry pick where they apply security. And when they apply security, it should have enough automation to allow them to look at for all of these software vulnerabilities, to do corrective actions if needed through automation, and the same thing for all the policies that relate to good security hygiene from a configuration perspective. We should not be leaving these things open. We should not be leaving in a DoD world, our information assurance managers or the network admins that get tasked with these things with the level of visibility they have today because they can't manage the risk appropriately or mitigate them, more importantly.
Well, it's obviously you're very passionate about this issue, but what has Squirrel Compliancy Solutions done about it?
Yeah, so, we're helping solve this problem. And I think it's absolutely crazy that now it's 2025. We put a man on the moon. We have GPS that allows our grandmothers to get from point A to point B. And if they take the wrong turn, it helps them get to the right place. It adapts. We have cars that can drive themselves practically at this point. And we had, thanks to DARPA, the internet that allows instantaneous communication via video or voice with anyone in the world. But applying policies on network devices or servers or IT equipment or software, is the bridge too far? That we can't do it? It's the third rail. Everyone's scared. We have to accept all these risks because we don't have the manpower or personnel power to do it. Mitigating them may cause an outage. I just have a hard time accepting that. I think that acceptance of a mediocre solution to security is something that we do not need to be faced with in 2025. And what have we done at Squirrel? Talk is cheap. Action is where it's at. We actually built something for the network side of the house that automates validating the policies like zero trust highlights. We have then gone in and made sure that our automation platform and our decision-making process in that automation platform is that of an equivalent CCNP, a very seasoned engineer. So that way, the results when they come out are detailed and very specific. The opportunity for false positives and false negatives are mitigated in most cases. And in addition to that, guess what else we can do? Because we have feature-rich information coming out in terms of the finding messages and what the problems really are, down to very specific, to a high level of specificity. We can do remediation. We can do corrective actions. We can do the enforcement that Zero Trust is saying that we all need to be doing. So that way, if you're an engineer supporting an environment and you get a report that says you have a few 100,000 things that you need to go fix, you don't look at this and say, yes, let's say hypothetically the report's 100% correct, and accept that this is a challenge. You probably are not arguing with some of the findings or most of the findings, but in the back of your head, you know none of these things will ever be done. With Squirrel Defender, we have solved that problem. We literally have customers who do deployments on the third business day of the deployment. They're doing enforcement actions. We had a particular customer on day number 3 highlight 35,000 security findings and mitigated them in 18 minutes through our automation. The tool does the work for you. It shows you what it's going to do, it allows you to customize it and push it out, because there is no way you're going to address those findings, 35,000 findings, in that same amount of time. It's going to take you months. And then if you don't have this type of precision and accuracy, again, in the auditing, you can't trust the enforcement. If you don't have the automation helping you with the enforcement, not just giving you, we think you should go do these things, but you have to log in and go do it yourself, we're actually doing the whole thing. We're telling you what the problem is, what the corrective action is going to be, you see it, and then it does it. Now, that's huge. That's a workforce enhancer, multiplier. That is giving your engineers the ability to scale, address security issues in near real time. That is what Zero Trust needs to be. We know what policies that need to be out there. Our problem is the tech hasn't kept up. And if you do the proactive approach easier, better, faster, those reactive tools that we've all bought because of a value proposition, a dream, a message that we all latched onto, we all believed in, those things can become a reality then, because the information that's going to them is much more refined, much more precise, and when they go off, then we start paying attention. It's not the boy who cried wolf. It's not the alarm bells going off every single day where we get to the point where we just mute it. We now have a solution that helps you in the proactive area, and then obviously helps you with the reactive tools they've already invested in.
Can you quantify the value proposition that distinguishes Squirrel Compliancy Solutions from your competitors?
Yeah, I think the core value proposition that we offer is, one, we have better automation. So we have enforcement also, but how we do it. We support more network STIGs than any other vendor in the marketplace. And not just that, you know how they say the devil's in the details? Of those STIG policies, we support a higher percentage of every requirement in each of those STIGs than any other vendor. So you don't have to worry about us coming in and saying, we support the layer 2 STIG. I have 22 requirements, we support 4. We support all of those. So you don't have to worry about the gaps, because we can automate more of each STIG than anyone else. And we curate it too. So that means we build the automation that you use. So you don't have to worry about wasting your time on a given day. As I mentioned, you have all these areas of responsibility. You get a big list of STIGs that are findings that you need to go to address, we build the automation to identify the finding gaps and the policy gaps. We build the automation for you that addresses the enforcement. No other vendor today in the marketplace supports more STIGs for network devices and the percentage of STIGs of each STIG than we do. And we curate it for you. So that way you stay focused on your job. If you have a problem where you don't like how we're doing something in the automation, you tell us, we test it out in our lab, we QA it, we will re-release it on our monthly updates to all of our customers, including you. Obviously, you'll probably get it first because you're the person reporting the problem, but turnkey solution, that's easy to deploy, easy to maintain, keeps you focused on your job, and also, most importantly, enforcing those policies without consuming your life. So that way, when you get the next CCRI, or CORA as they're calling them now, or more importantly, the next time an adversary comes knocking on your door, you know the network's taken care of.
If people want to find out more about Zero Trust and Squirrel Compliancy Solutions and the Squirrel Defender platform, where should they go on the web?
They should go to our website. Our website has the list of things that we do today. We're obviously expanding that. We have a very long roadmap, but I would start there and reach out to our sales team to get a demo.
Well, thank you again. We've enjoyed this time and this additional presentation in the series called Squirrel Compliancy Solutions TV, this one on Zero Trust. We've been speaking with Gilbert Bollinger, who is the CEO and founder of Squirrel Compliancy Solutions.
Thank you, Dave. It's been nice to be here.
I'm Dave Gardy, here for Squirrel Compliancy Solutions TV on the Cybersecurity TV channel. From Washington, D.C., our studios, thanks for watching.